All right. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Kent City Council meeting for August 18th, 2020. Want to let everyone know this is a remote meeting due to the COVID-19 emergency. A live broadcast of this meeting is available on Kent TV 21, as well as our Facebook page and YouTube channel at Kent TV 21. There's also a call-in option for joining this meeting. Kim, would you please call the roll?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Ralph?
Here.
Council President Troutner?
Here.
Councilmember Boyce?
Here.
Councilmember Fincher?
Here.
Councilmember Core?
Here.
Councilmember Larmer?
Here.
Councilmember Michaud? Councilmember Thomas?
Here.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Kim. With that, we will move on to agenda approval. Are there any changes to the agenda from council or staff?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Well, no changes to the agenda, but I just want to note for council and the audience that the agenda we're using tonight is updated from earlier versions. We removed a public hearing that we found not to be necessary, and then removed 3 public safety related items because Chief Padilla is not available this evening.
All right, thank you for that update. So it sounds like the agenda will stand as most recently printed. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Madam Mayor, I move to approve the agenda.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries 6-0. Thank you very much for that. We will move on to item number 4 on the agenda, which is public communications. We have a fun item, a little bit different than what we normally have under public recognition this evening. We have a proclamation for Justin, aka Nothing But Lag Day. So at the City of Kent, we are always consistently striving to find new and innovative ways to connect with community members, increase our engagement, and social media is one of the ways that we do that. So following an exchange with Justin Nothing But Lag via Twitter, we laid out a little bit of a challenge and were able to increase our number of Twitter followers significantly by a couple thousand at least. So the end result of that is a proclamation, and I will go ahead and read that. Whereas the City of Kent recognizes Justin Nothing But Lag as an influential content producer and editor who cheerfully agreed to interact with our Twitter account, the City of Kent extends sincere thanks to Justin Nothing But Lag for agreeing to engage with the city's Twitter account and encourages followers to follow our account. Whereas the City of Kent is grateful to Justin Nothing But Lag for increased interactions and engagement on Twitter, which resulted in thousands of new followers, including many in the Kent area, as well known as earned media attention. Whereas he has provided the City of Kent with increased engagement on social media and the ability to reach more residents, now therefore I, Dana Ralph, Mayor of Kent, do hereby proclaim August 29th, 2020 as Justin, aka Nothing But Lag Day in the City of Kent, Washington, and we are thankful that he agreed to engage with us. All right, we will move on at this point in the agenda to community events. Council President Troutner, do you have any community events for us this evening?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to remind everyone that there are still movies at the Census Showware Outdoor Cinema, but it will officially be ending on Sunday, August 30th. So there is still time to get tickets and attend one of the many movies that they have. Currently coming up, there's Coco, Field of Dreams, A Nightmare on Elm Street, Spaceballs, Moana, Grease, Space Jam, and Men in Black. So go ahead and visit the Showware website if you're interested in tickets and take advantage of movies through the end of the month. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Council members, any additional community events? All right, not seeing any hands. I do want to encourage people to go out and attend one of those drive-in movies. It really is a lot of fun. I will tell you, I'm looking forward to Grease coming up here at the end of the month. Great way to spend the evening with your family during this time of quarantine for sure. I also want to let everyone know to stay tuned to our website and social media channels. The City of Kent will be doing a mask distribution event coming up at ShowWare. We're still finalizing the details of that, so we don't have a date just yet. It will be paired with a food distribution event with Pacific Coast food, as well as hand sanitizers. So again, stay tuned. We've got some pretty cool masks with the Kent logo on them for our residents. And it's just a way of us making sure that everybody is staying safe, and to promote folks, encourage them to wear masks. So stay tuned. And then the final community event that I want to talk about is the 2020 census. So the deadline for responding to the census is going to be the end of September. We know it's extremely important in funding over the next 10 years, and every single one of our residents counts when it comes to the census for sure. So if you have not already completed it, you can go to the website 2020census.gov. It really takes about 5 minutes. I also can tell you that we've got census workers out in the community. I had an opportunity to speak with one of our community members that's out knocking on doors yesterday, engaging with our community to remind people to complete that census. So check out the website, get it done. We are in a little bit of a competition with our neighbors, Renton and Auburn, to see who can have the highest rate of return. And I have complete faith in our residents that we can win this challenge. So take some time to complete the census.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, sir.
There's a way to tell like people who have not completed the census, or they just knocking on everybody's doors?
They have a list of who has completed them and who has not. So they're targeting that engagement to folks that have not completed it.
Okay, thank you, Madam Mayor.
Absolutely. All right. With that, we will move into reports. This evening, I've got a couple of things I want to talk about. The first one is the commemoration of the ratification of the 19th Amendment, which provided women the right to vote here in our country. It's been 100 years ago that women were given the right to vote. We do know that it took decades for all women, especially women of color, to be included in that across the country. So we do want to make sure that we acknowledge that it was a long, hard-fought battle, but really, really proud to be celebrating 100 years of the beginning of women's right to vote in this country. Next, I want to talk a little bit about Prop A. So you have heard us talk about this over the last several years. Prop A would have been a ballot initiative that would have added approximately 30 officers and support staff, including record specialists, evidence technicians, community engagement, social workers, that kind of thing with that package. We had considered bringing it to the ballot in November. I actually talked about it at my State of the City address way back in March, which if you can think back that far, was pre-COVID. With the economic impacts that have been brought to our community as a result of COVID-19, and knowing that we're not anywhere near the end of the hardships that this pandemic has created, I have made the difficult decision to not ask council to bring to council to put that on the November ballot. I understand that there's a lot of our families that are struggling right now just to pay their bills and meet their basic needs. And I didn't feel like this was an appropriate time to ask for that property tax increase. I want to be really clear. There's a lot of information floating out around there about maybe why and what was behind it. And I do want to be clear that this is a response to the reason not bringing it to the ballot was a response to COVID, not the demands around defunding the police department. Historically, the Kent Police Department has been underfunded compared to our surrounding peer cities. We typically operate at about 30 or 40 less police officers than the majority of our peers. I do also, though, want to make it clear that we will continue to partner with our community to support things like early intervention, prevention efforts that we know are successful in lowering crime rate and community engagement across our city. We also will be working in implementing. You've heard the chief talk about programs like the co-responder model and working with legislature on funding for that so that we can make sure that our community has access to mental health professionals and crisis intervention specialists. So just wanted to make that formal announcement tonight to council and clarify that this is a response to COVID and the fact that I know that our residents are feeling the burden of the economic. It's a crisis, right, that we've got going on as a result of COVID-19. With that, I will turn it over to Chief Administrative Officer Derek Matheson.
All right, thank you, Madam Mayor. A couple of items here. Wanted to thank council members for attending the City Council Budget Mini Retreat last Monday, where council members heard an update on our revenue and expenditure forecasts and provided update or input to the mayor on what they would like to see in her proposed budget. The next step in the budget process is an executive leadership team retreat later this week, where directors will present their budget requests to administration and finance, and the budget will go to the city council in late September. I also wanted to share that the third-party administrator for our Small Business Emergency Relief Grant program is in the process of notifying applicants of the state of their application. We received 539 unique applications. 314 were determined eligible and 217 will receive funding. If anybody has questions about the application, evaluation, and selection process, they should contact Craft 3, our third-party administrator, at kentbusinessgrant@craft3, that's CRAFT3.org. The rest of my report is in the packet, and there is no executive session this evening.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I'm sorry, could Derek repeat the number? I thought you said there's 334 qualified, only 217 receive it. Can we explain that a little bit, please?
Yeah, 539 unique applications, 314 were determined eligible, and we have enough funds for 217 of them.
How did the other 100 plus, I can't do the math in my head, is that enough funding for them, or how do they not?
That's the difference between the 314 and the 217. The difference between the 539 and the 314 had to do with eligibility, which there were a number of factors. The largest one was a connection to a city or official or employee, which was not allowed under the grant terms.
Gotcha. Thank you, sir.
Certainly.
Okay. With that, I will turn it over to Council President Troutner.
Madam Mayor, we had two presentations during workshop earlier this evening, and just a reminder that we are broadcasting those now. So if you are interested in watching those presentations, be sure to check out Channel 21 or any of the other opportunities to view previous meetings. The first presentation was on the water system update. We had a little bit of history on the Howard Hanson Dam. Also, the water quality report for 2019 is available for anyone interested. It's on the city website. We heard about some projects that were recently completed, as well as some upcoming projects that are being worked on. We also had a presentation from the emergency management update. They talked about prevention, mitigation, preparedness, responsiveness, and recovery, and those roles and responsibilities of the emergency management plan team during a disaster or an emergency. It was really informative. So again, if you're interested, all of those are available online. And I also sit on the Regional Transit Committee and the Regional Law, Safety, and Justice Committee, and neither of those are meeting this month. So I will turn to my colleagues to see if they have been up to anything since our last meeting. And I will start with Councilmember Core.
Thank you. I serve on King County Domestic Violence Initiative Regional Task Force. We met last Tuesday and had a meeting on basically, we had presentations on restorative and transformative justice and gender-based violence. We also had a presentation on electronic service of domestic violence protection orders by King County and City of Seattle. And there was also communications manager from King County Sheriff's Office giving a presentation on King County 911 calls. And it was, I guess it was interesting for me. The part that was very interesting was encouraging residents to text 911 calls, especially domestic violence victims during this time, as it is harder for them to make phone calls as they might be in a home with their the person that's abusing them. So that was very interesting fact for me that I personally did not realize that you could text to 911. So and then I also serve as the chair for Puget Sound Clean Air Agency Advisory Council, and we will be not meeting for this month. I also serve on AWC, Association of Washington Cities Equity Work Group, and we actually will be meeting tomorrow, so I'll have update on that at the next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Kaur. Councilmember Larmer.
Thank you, Council President. I serve on the King County Affordable Housing Committee, as well as the Aging and Disabilities Advisory Council. And I do not have reports for this meeting. I should have one next council meeting. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Boyce.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I sit on the SEA PIC Committee, Public Issue Committee meeting as Vice Chair. We took the month of August off, so nothing to report, and I look forward to providing a report next month. Thank you.
Councilmember Thomas. Councilmember Thomas, do you need to unmute your microphone?
There we go. I'm sorry. So I sit on the Puget Sound Regional Fire Authority along with 2 other council members, and our job this past time was to fill out evaluations for our chief, which I believe will be discussed tomorrow night at our regular meeting, which will be 5:30 at station number 78 out in Covington. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you. And Councilmember Fincher.
Madam President, we had a Arts Commission. So the Kent Arts Commission, we had a discussion on the youth commissioner position, which has been hard to fill and keep filled during the year. But that position will stay as it has been in part of the bylaws, so that will continue on. But that position is open and looking for a youth commissioner. Quarantine art, part of the Kent Create series, is going to run through September 30th. So we already have some entries for that, hoping for plenty more. The new art show is up in Centennial. The traffic signal boxes, you might have noticed some new wraps around town. So the 8 for this year have been, actually the 8 for the past year have been installed now. And the park course at Morrow Meadows Park is also being installed. So those have been 2 things that we've been waiting on with COVID-19 and all. And so those are well underway. There is no meeting for the Mental Illness and Drug Dependency Advisory Committee for this month. So you will not have a report for me until we have our meeting in about a month and a half. That is it.
Thank you, everyone. Madam Mayor, that ends our reports.
All right, thank you very much. August does tend to be a month where some of the regional meetings are not scheduled, but as you can hear, our council is still very, very busy. Hard for me to believe that we're, on the downside of August as well, and we're headed into fall, but Thank you, council members, for all the work that you're doing to make sure that Kent is represented at those very important tables. We will move on to item number 6 in the agenda, which is a public hearing. We do not have one this evening. Item number 7 is public comment. During the coronavirus emergency, the public will not have the opportunity to provide live comment. We are, however, continuing to accept public comment. Written comments can be submitted to the City Council at citycouncil@kentwa.gov, or if you wish to submit them via phone, that number is 253-856-5700. With that, we will move on to the consent calendar. The consent calendar is a compilation of items that the council has addressed, discussed, and learned about at the committee of the whole meetings, which occur on the off Tuesdays from council. Looks like we've got items A through N. Council President Troutner, do you have a motion?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move to approve consent calendar items A to N.
Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Item number 9 on the agenda is other business. We do not have any this evening, nor do we have any bids, which is item number 10. There is no executive session. So with that, I think that this might be close to a record. We have nothing else on the agenda this evening. So just want to remind people to wear your masks, stay appropriately social distance, and take some time to get out and enjoy the sunshine while it's sticking around. With that, have a wonderful evening. We are adjourned.